In this video guide, we'll explore how Adapt's vanilla theme automatically generates colors for button states, and how you can preview them in advance. Visual button states are a common web strategy for indicating the potential for interaction, or that an interaction has already occurred. Color is just one facet of contemporary state design, but it is an essential one. Adapt tries to lend a hand by generating some colors to get you started. You don't have to use these colors in your course, but if they satisfy your design, you'll have saved your team some time and effort. The standard theme that comes bundled with Adapt is called Vanilla. Vanilla makes use of a code function to automatically generate colors for button states. You define a color for the default state, and Vanilla uses it to generate a color for the hover state. It darkens your default color by an additional 10%. And it generates the color for the selected state by darkening your default color by an additional 20%. Let's pretend that we have a client whose brand colors include something like sage or olive green. We're going to use that for our main item color. Let's document that in our Adapt UI kit. We'll replace Vanilla's blue both on the Colors artboard and in the Assets panel. First, on the Colors artboard. Making the change on the Colors artboard is simply a matter of documentation. It changes nothing in our XD components and templates. In order for it to cascade throughout the project, we'll make the change in the Assets panel. And let's preview that change. We see in the accordion that the default state looks good, but the hover and selected states are still using the old colors. XD doesn't have the ability to automatically generate these colors, so we are going to do it manually. We'll make use of an online color converter found at w3schools.com. You can find similar apps, so use whichever you prefer. First, we'll enter the code for our default color. For buttons, this is the color that you normally see when no one is interacting with it. This is the default state. This app immediately converts it to multiple color spaces. The color manipulation function used by Vanilla relies on the HSL color space. We want to manipulate the HSL code, so we'll copy it and paste it into the input box. In HSL, every color is described by 3 values. The third value determines lightness. 100% lightness is associated with white, and 0% is associated with black. To generate the color for the hover state, the Vanilla theme makes the default color 10% darker. It moves it towards black by subtracting 10 from the lightness value. In this example, our default color has a lightness value of 42%. To darken it by 10%, we subtract 10 from its current value, giving us 32%. This is the hover color that Vanilla would generate. I'm going to copy the hex code in order to update our design in the UI kit. I'm editing the color asset straight away. I'm purposely ignoring the colors artboard for the time being, just for the sake of this video, just to keep the process flowing. Be sure to come back and update your labels and documentation. And let's go back and get our last color. We'll start off with the code for the default color. To generate the color for the selected state, Vanilla subtracts 20% from lightness. So we'll subtract 20 from our original value. And we are now previewing the color for selected. Let's copy the hex code and head back to the XD file. We'll edit the remaining color and then check our work. And so we preview and scroll quickly down to the accordion And yes, now all of our states are being derived from the one brand color. You're not restricted to darkening the default color by 10% or 20%. You can darken by any increment that yields a satisfying result. Or you could lighten the color rather than darken it. In that case, you would add the increment to the default luminosity to bring it closer to 100%. A final note, don't forget about accessibility standards when it comes to color contrast. Buttons usually have text. Use a contrast checker to verify that the font color and background colors work well together. This checker is from Web Accessibility in Mind, webaim.org. And you can see that this lightened color has failed the test for normal text. Okay, now, a final note. Don't forget about your documentation. Make sure that you update the colors artboard for reference and the color tokens in the Assets panel.